soon as you come through the doors of the Train Collectors Association Toy Train Museum, this is what you're going to see. Here you can approach the ticket booth, grab yourself a ticket to get inside. You also have some great things for sale. Check out this cool replica of the observation car. Lionel trains with magnet traction. Check out that ad. Lionel trains. Another cool billboard ad. The Train Collectors Association celebrating 65 years, 1954 to 2019. For the love of toy trains. Hello everybody, welcome to Dakman Productions and welcome to the TCA Train Collectors of America Museum, Toy Train Museum here in Bronx, PA. And starting to walk through the museum, and we have this first display, 7 1/4" gauge New York Central and Hudson River Railroad. The 440 tender locomotive was manufactured by J.G.S. Clark and Company, London, England. Next up, we have this cool replica of the Lionel Fort Knox mint car display. So we'll take a look at the trains within this display here. It looks like they got some neat older pieces in this display. Alright, so we'll pick out a couple pieces here, and we have Melanie who will talk to us about them.
This piece here is one of our oldest pieces. It's dated 1880. This is a loan item, so it's not really ours, but we are able to display it in the mint car, like you said.
That is a cool piece. Made in 1880. So is this the oldest piece you have on display?
We believe it to be one of the oldest pieces. There's a couple other pieces here, but we can't get verification if they're of the dates they were made.
That is so cool to have something that old and still what seems to be in remarkably good shape for its age. It looks like this is made of wood.
It's wood, yes, and then it's lithography. It's a paper covering, which is in very good shape. If you do some research on it, the other pieces are not as nice as this piece.
Okay.
These are all original pieces. There was reproduction pieces, but these all here are original.
Alright, so the Buddy L outdoor railroad train that's on display in here is an original piece, and this probably has to be one of the original outdoor railroad trains as far as, compared to, G-scale here in America. But this was motorized as well?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, so in the next window we have some more cool older trains. Door fan, narrow gauge, Nap, Carlisle and Finch. And these trains date back quite some time. Lionel number 54 brass. Lionel circa 1912 to 17, number 6. Elect Toy, Freight Train. Ives, that's a name I've heard quite a bit. Let's see what we have here. The World's Champion. Number 8.5 Erector Hudson Engine and Tender Set. And here's another overview of the Lionel Fort Knox replica mint car display. This is so cool how they built this. So here we have a Lionel Archives display within the museum, and Melanie's going to be nice enough to talk to us about this a little bit.
Some of these items, my favorite piece is the Lionel number 5 tender.
Oh, that's cool.
And it came with the original box, which you can see on the other side.
And how did the museum end up getting this display?
We heard that Lionel was selling some of their archive pieces, so we contacted them and went out there about 2 years ago and picked up approximately 25 pieces.
So Lionel actually had their own archives, or are these just like forgotten trains or stuff they found?
Yes, they had their own archives, and so we were able to visit and pick out different pieces.
Now I see these Lionel signs on each one of them. Is this something that Lionel did for you, for the museum, or?
Yes, they actually did the signage.
So it makes everything really official.
Right.
Letter of authenticity.
Yes. And here's the box to the tender.
Wow. I never realized that Lionel had their own archives. Tie ejector. Lionel tied the ejector car number 55 prototype sample. Lionel Alco Master Carton addressed to Frank Pettit.
Frank is one of our longtime members.
Oh,
So that's original box addressed to him.
very nice. That's got to be an unusual train right there.
That's the Phantom train. That's the prototype for the Phantom train.
I've never seen anything like that. Was this actually released, or?
It was, yes.
It's got to be like a rare set because I've never seen one.
Right.
So we look to the right of that display, and we have another cool display we wanted to show you guys. Mark's 1950s era catalog featuring the Santa Fe freight set and a passenger set with silhouette passengers. Alright, so we're going to move forward to the museum, what they call the In Memory of display. All these trains are displayed in memory of a person who passed away. And as you can see, there's trains of all sizes and gauges included in this display. I like the variety because there's something here for anyone who's in HO, N scale, G scale, HO, O gauge. There are quite a few cool pieces. I'm just panning around here. (1954) TCA Railroad. That's pretty neat too. I really like this standard gauge train down here. The chrome, I mean, this chrome train just really pops.
This is the Mickey and Minnie Mouse hand car, which is popular with collectors.
Okay, and
It's made in 1935.
wow. Do you know the manufacturer? Oh, it's Lionel.
That's Lionel, yes.
Okay, so this is a Lionel 1935 Mickey Mouse hand car. I did not know they produced that. That's really neat as well. Here we have another in memory of display. There are many trains of many sizes on display here, and these trains are all in memory of somebody who's passed away. Sorry for the glare. Some cool, neat pieces. So here is another in memory of display case. We'll take a quick look at that. So there's a total of 3 memory display cases currently. Once again, this display of trains in memory of people who passed away. Different sizes, different scales. Okay, let's take a walk down Historical Hall. In this display case are cast iron trains. So let's take a close look at those. And you have quite a bit of cast iron trains. Looks like the oldest one dating back to 1910. Some really neat pieces in here. So this is their cast iron display. there's some really unique pieces. Markland turntable, circa 1905. Now here we have something that's really special. This is a Lionel 2 7/8 gauge train, number 100, with the designation of B&O number 5. This is one of Lionel's earliest pieces, circa 1903. It has 2 screws fastening the frame to the body and round reversing switch. The number 600 derrick trailer, non-motorized, is a most intriguing car. It is known to exist in both light green, maroon, and black versions. However, surviving samples of the motorized number 500 electric derrick car have been found only in maroon and black. Here's a cool ideal cast iron floor toy, stock car, which actually has cast iron animals in it. Next, we move on to standard gauge. Standard gauge started in the early 1900s and was, I believe, Lionel's actually first train that they produced was standard gauge. So we'll take a look at some of the standard gauge. Now here we have a Dorfin wide gauge, 1927 to 1930. Then we have an American Flyer wide gauge, circa 1929. So I learned something very interesting. Even though the Markland, the Ives, and Dorfin would run on standard gauge Lionel track, they were not allowed to call it standard gauge because Lionel actually copyrighted that term. So in turn, the Markland and Ives Dorfin was either called wide gauge and not standard gauge, although it would run on a standard gauge track. So there's your piece of history from the museum. And it's always cool to visit places like this because that's when you learn a lot, especially when it comes to old stuff like this. And then there's a Markland live steam, circa 1912. That is so cool. American Flyer. Some very cool, unique pieces. And once again, it's hard to grasp the trains that are in here, the wonderful trains. I'm doing my best to keep the glare down. And who doesn't recognize the iconic Lionel 400E Blue Comet set? This is an original 1935 Blue Comet set. Lionel number 402E electric locomotive, circa 1926 to 1929. Another cool piece. Up here we have something interesting. Corrette American Steam Clockwork Locomotive. And since it's a clockwork locomotive, I'm assuming that it's a wind-up. INL number 9E Build-A-Loco, circa 1934. INL number 33 Electric. Bub KBN. That's neat. Check out the eyes. Nameplate on that caboose. This is so. And volt amp number 2130, 1 gauge. So once again, they're calling this 1 gauge, and it runs on 2 rail. That is so cool. Here is a Markland Wonder Wheel. I am told this is possibly only one of 3 that were actually sent to the United States. They were sent to Markland dealers as a display. They think possibly only 2 are surviving in the USA, maybe a 3rd. But there is a motor that turns this Ferris wheel type of wheel, and a train just runs on track on friction. They quit actually motorizing it quite some time ago because they were afraid something would happen to it. So now it's just a static display, but it is a cool piece. So people were moving from Victorian homes to smaller homes, especially after the war. People could no longer afford standard gauge. Standard gauge sales were falling, so out came O gauge. So now we have some O gauge template here to show you guys. Here's a Bing wind-up steam locomotive and passenger cars, circa 1920. Along with Bing freight cars and Jefferson toy transformer. Quite unique. Then we have Dorfin Company of Newark, New Jersey, 1924 through 1934. Milton and Julius Forsheimer, nephews to Joseph Krauss of Joseph Krauss and Company, Nuremberg, Germany, 1910 to 1917. Both worked for their uncle in Germany after World War I. They came to the USA and began manufacturing trains here. 2 sizes, wide gauge, which is standard gauge as we learned, and O gauge trains. Dorfin was best known for first in passenger cars to have hand-painted silhouette figures in the windows. Wow. So even back then, they were not using silhouette windows. They were actually using figures, and they painted them. That is so neat. So here we have a Dorfin number 52 electric locomotive and cars with painted figures inside of them, as they mentioned. And then we continue down Historic Hall, and we'll look at some more O gauge tin plate. So here we're still in the early 30s. American Flyer, early 30s. American Flyer Gilbert. Gilbert was also a S-gauge train manufacturer, an O-gauge. And I believe American Flyer bought Gilbert. Now we're getting into some really unique stuff here. Markman template, American Flyer, box cab, 1928 to 1929. Ives, number 486, circa 1928. American Flyer, electric locomotive center cab, circa 1928 to 1929. So they have some really unique stuff here. Line out pre-war. So yeah, basically what we're looking at is pre-war trains. Line out pre-war. Circa 1935. Line out number 261 passenger set. That is so neat. A lot of these trains we're looking at are either on loan or donated. The museum does own quite a few of these pieces as well. American Flyer number 561, circa 1939 to 1940. American Flyer number 403, circa 1939 to 1940. And we have Bub number 254, circa 1910. Markman wind-up. And we continue on. So let's take a look at the unique stuff in here. Mars Supreme margin. Wow. Thomas Industries, Alexander. That's so cool. The B&O Railroad Museum actually has a camelback on display just like that. Except I believe it's maroon instead of black. Now we get into the O-gauge post-war in the Historic Hall. So a lot of these trains on display should look familiar to a lot of people because I noticed that Lionel O-gauge post-war is very, very popular. There's a cool one everybody should be familiar with. Lionel number 2034 Scout type locomotive. Lionel number 2340 Congressional set. Lionel Pennsylvania 2330 GG1. So there are some neat things in here. Operating radar. Lionel number 3619 dark yellow rare. Lionel number 3619 light yellow. And the Minuteman missile car. Operating brake van. The firefighting instruction car. Missile firing car. Lionel helicopter launching. Santa Fe refrigerator. Fireman ladder. Lionel flat car bulldozer. Lionel number 681 steam turbine. Lionel number 52 fire car. Let's scoot over this way. Lionel GG1 number 2340. Lionel flat cars with 2 USMC trucks, circuit 1958. Lionel number 6804 and Lionel number 6806. I have not seen those post-war Marine cars. Lionel number 6808. May 1958. Lionel number 1625, 040 steam engine, 1958. Inspection car, tie ejector, the Lionelville trolley. This is a Kramer number 2037 replica of the Lionel Girls Train. It's on loan by White House Gift Unit. Given to Nancy Reagan by Peter Bianco of Train World. Wow. So that's really cool. So this train set was actually given to Nancy Reagan by Peter Bianco of Train World, and is a replica of the Lionel's girls train set. And it's on loan by the White House Gift Unit. That is so cool. So there's something unique for everybody. Lionel Little Joe. Traveling aquarium car. And there's this stuff on the bottom too. There's your horse corral. Electric Baskel Bridge, I think it's called. There's just so much to see here at the museum. And if you're interested in trains and history and historic model trains, then this is the place to visit. I have never seen that transformer before. Lionel electronic transmitter. Lionel type V or type 5. I'm going to assume V. KW 1044. Who doesn't recognize the old CW? And R100 watt transformer back there. The iconic New York Central Lionel number 685 Small Hudson. The favorite Lionel number 773 Hudson, the steam locomotive. Now, I do know a little bit about this, thanks to more involvement with other YouTube channels. But you'll see that there's a size difference between the 685 and the 773. The Lionel 773 Hudson was the very first scale locomotive, from my understanding, that Lionel introduced. Scale to true size of 148 dimensions. Lionel number 621 NW Switcher. The FM Trainmaster is another favorite. Lionel number 746J steam engine, circa 1957 to 1960. And we have the General, circa 1978 to 1980. So here we have the Kramer reproduction voice set that was donated. Another cool display piece is this circus train display. So let's take a look at that. Got different cars on display. Very nice. K-Line 462 Pennsylvania Railroad Steam and Tender. And then you have in the back here Mark's Super Circus. Mark's play sets were extremely popular with children in the 1950s and 60s. The Super Circus dates back from 1952 and includes a metal lithographed big top with flags, poles, midway platforms, and signs. Next up we have the Ives Trains display. So we'll take a quick look at this. Ives for Lionel, number 1764E, NH type locomotive, 1932 only. The America this Ives toy came from CA 1880. Was one of wide range of wind-up floor toys. Wow, that is quite old, 1880. Ives number 1134, wide gauge. Now remember what we learned, wide gauge is really standard gauge, but they were not allowed to use that terminology. It was a Lionel copyrighted term, so they called it wide gauge instead of standard gauge. Ives transformer. The Ives Manufacturing Company, 1868 to 1932. The Ives Manufacturing Company was founded in Plymouth, Connecticut by Edward Ives, a descendant of Plymouth Colony Governor William Bradford. The company initially produced paper dolls whose limb moved in response to hot air, but soon began producing a wide range of toys, including a toy cannon that shot using real gunpowder and clockwork-powered dolls and animals that could move. In 1901, they released their first train that ran on track, and in 1910, their first electric-powered trains. They introduced the first remote-control reverse units in 1924. Lionel ultimately bought American Flyer's share and continued to use the Ives name until 1932. In that last year, the entire line was Lionel products with Ives name was added. Ives made a series of boxcars in the teens and 20s that used a wide range of real road names to decorate the cars. They are highly collectible today. Ives made a wide range of steam locomotives that used wind-up clockwork motor for power circa 1904 to 1910. Ives artwork decorated tops of many train set boxes. Okay, we're standing in front of the Marks display. There are two sides to this display, so we'll take a look here. For those who are Marks O-Gauge fans, Marks crossing sign signals. So maybe somebody will recognize something here that they have, but they're not sure what it is. Then you can identify it as it being the Marks. There are some cool, unique things here. Those Baltimore and Ohio locomotives are circa 1953 to 1958. And Marks does have a following. There are people who like it. Once again, this display is all Marks. So if you see something in here and you recognize you have it, then you'll know that it's a Marks. Let's take a look at this side here. More signals. Markstronic set, battery powered, circa 1940. Wow. Marks tank car, number 553 Santa Fe, year 1937. So some of this stuff does have dates on them. Marks reefer, yellow, year 1936 to 38. Marks circuit breaker, Marks caboose, 34 to 36. Marks UP streamliner, circa 1940. Marks passenger cars. Marks Mercury steam locomotive. freight set. Mark's lumber car with wood load. So now we are on the other side of the Mark's display. We have what seems to be an accessories brochure. Twin light flashing signal, Mark's electric crossing. William Crookes set, Tales of Wells Fargo, circa 1959. Mark's trains, circa 1930 to 1960. UP Streamliner, Mark's 36 to 1940. Mark's tank car, year 1955 to 1973. Mark's number 591 steam locomotive. Mark's mechanical train set. Well, that's something unique. On the instructions, somebody wrote 10 of 69. Battery type electrical train, made in USA by Lewis Marks and Company, New York. Mark's Guida train, Mark's ready to run, 4-unit steam freight. Mark's Monon engine and B unit, circa 1950s. Mark's number 1666 locomotive. Union Pacific Streamliner, circa 1936 to 1937. Mark's number 591 steam locomotive, 1950 to 1958. Coal tender, 53 to 54. Bessemer boxcar, 1950 to 58. Northern Pacific boxcar, 50 to 58. Pennsylvania Hopper, 50 to 58. Got some cool trains in here. Number 999. Here we have the Mark's twin diesel trains. Next, at the TCA, or Train Collectors Association Toy Train Museum here in Bronx, PA, we have the Independence display. So let's take a look at what we have here. The 1976 Lionel American Freedom Train. This is the TCA Bicentennial Special. Up top, we have an HO scale American Freedom Train. Now, I know the American Freedom Train was not really pulled by diesel, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. So there was actually a train before the American Freedom Train called the Preamble Express, which was painted exactly just like that locomotive right there. Instead of American Freedom Train, it actually said Preamble Express. The Preamble Express had about 5 or 6 passenger cars on it, and it was actually the train used to map out the route the American Freedom Train would take while taking the investors with them. The Preamble Express, just like the American Freedom Train, was pulled by 2 different locomotives. One of them was either E8 or E7, don't quote me on that. And the other one was a General Electric U-boat. I'm not sure if it was a U-25 or U-30, U-33. The Spirit of 76 train set. They did a real good job with this display. I really like it a lot. Here we have the Heritage Series Lionel Funeral Train. Lionel Lincoln Funeral Train. McCoy Spirit of 76, hosted by the Delaware Valley chapter. This is a Lewis and Marks Company replica of the White House.